Shanti,
네, 여기서
Shanti.
한국을 배워서 배워보고
One second. We won't watch Gerda. Perfect harmony. All the different tones become one. Did you feel that? None of us, well, some of us are singers, others aren't. And it doesn't matter. And when you do this a lot, what happens is you start to feel the vibration in your body. I don't know if any of you felt it, but this is one of the practices, yeah? And it's just like a really, it's almost like your whole entire nervous system is being cleansed. It's like fine-tuning, like they do with guitars. They use a tuning fork, right? I don't know, any of you worked with Jenny when she was here last year?
Yeah.
She worked with music for meditation, amazing, right? And she would use a tuning fork and then put it on your nerve here or on your ankle where I had trouble. And you could feel the vibration go up every single nerve in my body. It was amazing, you know? And because we really are musical instruments, and the yogis from thousands of years ago knew that sound could heal. So simple, so simple. And one of the singers that we had met, Nalanie, some of you know, she does lovely kirtan in England, and now she's married to Matt. And together, I hope to bring them here next year for June. And when they sing beautifully. So now a lot of people are doing this experiment of sound with special needs children. And so what they did is, the day after I left UK, they were going to a special needs school and doing kirtan, just chanting, Sanskrit chants. And it was amazing. She said the kids absolutely loved it. So it's very healing. Now, Kamala and Karen here work with my granddaughter, who's special needs, and they can tell you how much the chanting suits her. And just starts to relax. You can say, yeah.
No, she loves it.
Yeah. She loves it. They seem to understand sound energy. We seem to have forgotten, and like Sonia Sumar said, I wonder who is more special needs, we or the special needs? And sometimes I think I have to agree with her. You know, sometimes we become so childish, and we make such small things into big things, and we worry, we're so concerned, chanting sounds odd, this sounds odd, we like to put everything into boxes, this is a cult, that is this, that is that, you know, so we're so fearful, we're constantly judging. It's good to test everything, it is. Blind faith is not faith. Nobody should have blind faith, you should always question. But do not judge until you practice it. Until you practice it. And the most important thing is to practice it. It's because it's only by practicing you're going to experience. For example, last week we did the pranayama. You all felt the silence. Didn't matter what I said. Do you see? Ultimately, what you go away with is your experience, and nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. And when you have the experience, you know. You're not thinking anymore, oh, doubts, this, that, does this exist, does that exist, is there a divine, is there, all these crazy questions that, disturb the mind, you become, you know it exists, you know that it's there, you know there are many, many dimensions, you know now. So it's not a question of having to learn anything anymore. Knowledge is good, knowledge is important, and knowledge is wonderful. But too much knowledge can disturb you also. I want you to get used to the feeling to use that knowledge for experience. Not to promote yourself, but for experience. Do you understand? It's not about promotion, it's about experiencing the divine. When you experience the divine energy within you, you sparkle, whether you like it or not. And people will get that energy from you. So pranayama is one of these practices that builds up the life force. We talked about it last week. It builds up your life force. So build up your life force with pranayama practices. They really do. When you're feeling weak and tired, if you're sick, recovering, pranayama. I remember when I had pneumonia, Gurudev was alive in those days, And it was right after my daughter's wedding, and he called me at the hospital. I don't know how he found me in the hospital in Gibraltar. I was living in Gibraltar, and he goes, Nalanie, do bastrika. Do a lot of bastrika and drink coffee. They didn't have coffee in the hospital, so I asked my daughter to bring me a thermos of coffee every day. Why coffee? Do you know why coffee? Because it gets, what does it work on? Your adrenal glands, right?
Yeah.
Yes. What do they put into the Ventolin when you have it? Adrenaline. Yeah. Better coffee than medication, right? So, for somebody who is not an asthmatic, please don't do this. You'll end up a nervous wreck. You remember, always remember, one person's nectar is another person's poison. And one person's poison is another one's nectar. Remember this clearly. Just because it works for me may not work for you. So always be very, very clear when you make judgments, when you see things. And the only way you can be clear about things is by experience, experience, and experience. You go through a lot of pain yourself in your life. And many people feel when they go through a lot of pain, they're being punished. But no, when you go through a lot of pain, what happens to you? If you either become extremely bitter, or you become extremely compassionate. If you become bitter, your life is horrible, ends in a horrible way, you make lots of enemies, and when you die, you're just angry. No, don't even bother to go that road. If you become compassionate, you serve many, you love many, and by doing that, you yourself become happy. So I always say there's no choice. Why would you want to be bitter? Whose life do you spoil but your own? Why would you want jealousy? Whose life do you spoil but your own? Why wouldn't you just want to be kind and good? Whose life does benefits from it? Your own. Yes, of course you benefit other people, but ultimately you're the one that's laughing. I was listening to Gurudev in my car the other day, and actually my grandchildren were with me in the car, and we always play Ludo, and they're always competing who's going to win. So, and Gurudev was saying in the car, when you win, if you always want to win, 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 what do you look at? All the faces of people who are miserable and sad that they've lost. But when you lose, you can look at the happy faces of those who win. And actually it was so funny, my granddaughter really took that to heart. And that night when we were playing Ludo, and I lost, she said 3 times I lost it. Granny, I'm really sorry you lost. I always win, you see. So, so I said, no, I'm not. I see your happy face. Didn't you hear Gurudev? And we all started laughing. You see, that way you take life lightly. You take life lightly. You don't think of losing as losing. You think of losing as winning. And that makes you happy, makes you so much like, doesn't matter, somebody else won. And Sri Patanjali tells us in the 4 locks and keys, what does he tell? Delight in the virtuous. Be friendly towards, be compassionate towards the unhappy, and disregard the wicked. Yeah, you know it well, I'm really proud of you. And that's the truth. So all this builds up your life force. It's just not the pranayama practices. It's just not the hatha yoga practices. It's just not the meditation practices. The highest practice, the Bhagavad Gita tells us, you can do all this is good. All this is fine. The highest practice, Tyagat Shantir Anantana. What does that mean? When you let go of all the attachments to the fruit of your actions, you become free. Yeah. When you don't let go, non-attachment to all the things that you do, it's nothing to do with you. When you just let go, whether it works, whether it doesn't work, whether life is fine, whether life isn't fine, you just let go. Whatever will be, will be. You know that song? Que sera, sera. How many know that song? My mother's favorite song. I love, whenever I sing that song, I think of my mother. So it is. Let it be. What will be is will be. And when you can just do that, you know, we were talking last night. We're working with a soup kitchen in Africa, and we found out last night with the estimates. Les found out that the estimates were incorrect. They were overcharging us. Thank God he noticed, you know, because it's a few hundred here and a few hundred here, cement, stone, etc. And so he questioned it. He went to somebody else and said, look, this is the estimate I got. Somebody he trusted. Please tell me what is the real price in Tanzania. So he comes back and it's like 2,000 less, because it was a big estimate for all the sand and whatever we needed, and building and electrics. And so he was so sad. He said, we tried to do good and look what happens. I said, don't even think that way. We just have to keep on top of it. We just have to tell them the truth when it happens. But we can't withdraw. Because if we withdraw and say, look, I'm fed up, I don't want to do this anymore, then those few children that will benefit will not even benefit. And I said, all over the world you see this corruption. It just is the way it is. But we can't let the children suffer for the sake of those corrupted people. We must let them see hope. And of course we keep on top, we keep on top, we can't keep on top. But don't get disillusioned. If you get disillusioned, then the work will not be done with love. Do you see what I'm saying? This is life force. Disillusionment takes away your life force. It takes your life. When you're disillusioned, don't you feel sad? You feel like you don't want to live, you don't want to go on. You get this feeling of what for? What for? All this, what for? I'm sure everybody has felt that. You mustn't allow the mind to go there. What for? Because we have work to do in this world. Good or bad, we have work to do. What else can we do? If everybody said what for, the world would stop moving. And this is what Lord Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, I'm Lord Krishna, but I'm still on earth. I come to earth to work. I'm always working. Otherwise, if I'm not working, then what is there to do on this earth? And then you think about people who write plays and dramas and movies. It's all a play and we've just been written. That's all. We've been written. We all come from the same place. Director chooses, now let you be a teacher, or let you be working with light. Steve, you're going to be in charge of SIS, and you're going to be in charge of special needs, and da-da-da-da. And he gives us all a job. Now, we get the job. Do we follow it, or do we fall down every time we get disillusion? We fall down every time we get disillusion. We slow the pace of our spiritual growth. We slow. You see, there's a part you have to act. Is if the actor says, oh, I can't learn this by heart, I can't. What happens? He won't get the part, somebody else will. Somebody comes and says, I can do this. I'm not frightened. Okay, you didn't do this. Go wallow away. This part needs to be fulfilled. And this is what, again, when Arjuna, the great warrior, has to protect his people and he doesn't want to. He's scared. And Lord Krishna tells him, you're a coward. I've given you a job to protect the people. Whether you do it or whether you don't do it, he tells him, the job has to be done. Either you take the honor that I've given you to protect the people, or somebody else will do it. Because in the end, they have to be saved. By you or by not by you. So stop worrying and stop complaining. Just do the job. And don't think of the reaction afterwards. You may die. You may die, you may live, you may get everything, we don't know. But this is your job, to protect the people. Just do it and go to do it to protect your people. What is your purpose? What is your intention? And anytime you get confused, because on the spiritual path, there's a lot of confusion. One person will tell you this, another person will say, no, you can't, you've got to stick in a box, you know? And somebody else will tell you that. Don't listen to anyone. Start to experience for yourself. And then you are your best judge. Start to get in touch with the divine inside of you. Because to be different, you have to be very brave. To be strong, you have to be very brave. To say the truth, you have to be very brave. To lie is easy in this world, but where does it get you? To say the truth is hard, but you love yourself. Why do you love yourself? Because what is the nature of our true self? Truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. This is what the divine is. So pranayama is one of these wonderful practices to take you there. But alone in itself, it cannot take you there. So that's another thing I was going to tell you another story today. Some of you already know it, I'm sorry. I keep repeating the same stories. There was a disciple with Ramakrishna. So Ramakrishna was a great 19th century saint in India. Wonderful, wonderful soul. In the beginning, when he started his practices, everybody thought he was mad. Everybody thought he was mad. In the end, they called him the great saint, an avatar son of God, like Lord Jesus. That's what he was known as. Anyway, he had this disciple, and this disciple wanted to be light, because if you do a lot of pranayama, you can be very light on your feet. And one day he was watching, he heard stories about saints walking across rivers, and he thought, I really would like to do that. I really would like to do that. So he spent 12 years doing pranayama, breathing, 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 breathing. And after 12 years, he managed to walk across the river. So he went to his master, Master, Ramakrishna-ji, I can walk across the river. And Ramakrishna looks at him and says, really? How long did it take you to do that? He said, 12 years. He says, I pay 1 anna for the boatman to take me across. Do you get it? You see, many times we spend a lot of years doing something that leads us. No, and for what? Isn't it just showing off? What benefit does it bring to anyone? What benefit? I mean, I've met many yoga students say, I want to levitate, I want to levitate, I want to levitate, And I go, why would you want to focus on levitating? I said, Saint Teresa of Avila, every time she used to pass the corridor and see Lord Jesus' photo, she would levitate. On its own, they had to pull her down. Did you know that? The nuns had to pull her down. That's a story. Read her life. That's why when you read the life stories of saints and sages, it's really, really very beautiful to hear. That's why I love to go visit her place, because I just think she's phenomenal. And she didn't do any yogic practices. She just experienced the divine God within her in the form of Lord Jesus. And that was her, her devata, her Ishwara. That was her God, Lord Jesus. So, and she had no doubt about it. Just like Saint Mother Meera, I call her Mother Mary. Mother Meera of India. Have you heard about Mother Meera? She was one of the greatest saints of India, and till today, so many people study her poems. She fell in love with Lord Krishna as a child. She was a princess. She had to go through many, many, many hardships. She was married and her husband died. Then her husband's uncle tried to poison her. This is all true, documented, all right? And because he said she's a princess, how can she be talking to all these spiritual people? She should be a princess in all her gowns, but she was singing mantras and bhajans, and people used to love her and just come to the palace. And he goes, all these kind of people coming to my palace and didn't want it. So he didn't know how to get rid of her. So he asked his sister to give her poison. And Meera knew it was poison. She knew it was poison. There's nothing she could do about it. So she took the cup and she said, if I have to go, at least I go for Krishna. She drank it. She did not die. After that day, that sister bowed at her feet and became her biggest disciple. Because she knew it was poison. So it turned into nectar. You hear many of these stories, and they're all documented. Anyway, finally she was thrown out of the temple. She was thrown out, and she had to walk the streets, and finally thrown out of the palace. And finally she reached somewhere, I think it was Vrindavan, where Lord Krishna was born, a temple there, and she was very welcome there. And then she sang songs and bhajan. She was happy. She was with spiritual people. And she used to say, I'm so uncomfortable, because she was used to riches. But dear Lord, for you, I am willing to take anything. And in the end, what happened was, when she left the place, the palace, all the luck went with her. All the blessings went with her. Immediately she left, the next king from the next town conquered their king, killed him, and everything was destroyed. The king, the uncle that tried to kill her, in the end lost everything. So the new king who took over the palace said he realized that it was the bad luck of hurting such a holy person was in the place. So he sent his soldiers to look for her and ask her to come back, and she could do what she wanted, and just to bring her back home. So the soldiers went, and they went to her, they found her and said, please come back, the town is suffering, the people are suffering, since you have gone, all the wealth is gone, we need you back. And she goes, no, I'm in love with my Krishna, I can't go, I'm married to him here, I can't go back. They said, please, please. So anyway, she thought, okay, I have to go back. And before I go back, I want to sing to my Krishna in the temple. And what happened is, they waited outside, all the gods outside the temple. She went in, singing. They decided, okay, we have to open and take her, we can't be here all night. They opened the door, there's a voice, there's nobody there. And there was no way she could escape. And they hear the singing in the walls. Where is she? Where is she? They never found her. It is said that she had what you call spontaneous combustion. Yeah, you know about it, right? That she just disappeared into energy. There are a few cases now documented about spontaneous combustion, but that's what happened. Because Kundalini energy, the energy of the spirit, is warm. Don't you find when you're around spiritual gatherings, or sometimes your body starts to feel very hot? Yeah? Starts to feel, I don't know why, I was so cold and suddenly I'm feeling so hot. That's the spiritual energy of the Kundalini. It makes your body feel very, very warm suddenly. Your hands become warm. That's why healers, when they heal, it's just the energy coming out of you. It's hot. Yeah, last week we tried some work with energy, and you could see how your own energy is effective. So what I love about this science is because it is precisely a science. Call it spiritual, but really for me it is the same. It's all about consciousness. It doesn't matter the name you give it. But what all the saints and sages have noticed, and this is the difference between science and spirituality, is that the missing factor in science is the element called love. Bhakti, we call it. Can you all say bhakti? It's very much used in today's world. So it's important to know the word. It's used in many social areas. I'm going to be speaking to a group of professionals in India when I'm there, business people. And all of them will understand the word bhakti. So if you have to do talks anywhere, bhakti is the word. Because love sometimes doesn't say it. Bhakti comes from the heart, yes.
How are you spelling it?
B-H-A-K-T-I. Bhakti. B-H-A-K-T-I. It's a science called Bhakti Yoga. So it's the love. Lord Jesus used what? He said the 13th commandment was love one another as I have loved you, he told his disciples. And they will know you for my disciples. Where was the missing element in the other works in the Bible? That element of love. And where do you feel love from? And what is the strongest prana? Prana, cosmic force. We're doing pranayama, right? What is the strongest force?
Breath.
More than breath. What's in the prana?
Life force.
Life force. Put love into that life force, what do you get? Healing. Healing. People heal. Lives heal. Things heal. You put love into your house, it heals. You ignore it, it falls apart. True or not? Even in a home, anything, your clothes, just dump it in the washing machine very soon, dry it outside, they become old. Look after them, wash them nicely, separate them. Whites, colors, they last a long time. You check if it's silk, you put it into the dryer, put the right, you look after anything, it lasts a long time. And you don't look after it, and what is the element? Love. Love for whatever you are doing, respect for whatever you are doing. So this is the shortcut. Loving is the shortcut. So all the greatest masters say, you can learn all these great sciences. Hatha yoga, bhakti yoga, pranayama, etc., etc., etc. But the real prana is to do all these practices with love and expect nothing in return. You got it? Otherwise you will be like that man who spends 12 years learning to cross the river, and for what? And I see many people doing that. A lot of people do 15, 20 years study. Jnana yoga. Fabulous. I love it. I love Jnana yogis. I think there's so much I can learn from them. But then, at the end of the day, when I meet someone who spent like his whole lifetime doing Jnana yoga and then tells me that we have to build a school that separates the people of higher caliber and don't work with the people of lower caliber, let them be, don't give them education. How can anybody even think that? If you have Jnana yoga, you can say, yes, we'll make a spiritual school that will educate the people who can to serve those who don't have. But no, we don't want to deal with those who don't. Only available for the highly intelligent. But sometimes the highly intelligent have the least common sense. Isn't it true? And sometimes the people that are not highly intelligent have great common sense. The best is the two together. Intelligence with common sense. So all this builds up your prana, your life force. So using pranayama, today we're going to do, again, repeat some of the practices we did last week. Then we're going to go back and forth into meditation. Today we bought Gurudev's photograph, but I think it's not at the right angle for you to. And just think of this one as a holy face. I'm not asking you to believe in him or anything. It's just that the life force from this picture, because of experience, is quite powerful. So it's a life force. And just because the mind goes everywhere, all I want you to look at is when that talk comes out, remember the words, I don't know which talk Shanti has chosen, and focus on that, okay? I'm going to adjust that while you watch that. And then we'll start with the practices, all right?
The moment I think, I want it for my enjoyment. I want it for me. The I, me. Imagine you were just one evening, you didn't have anything to do in the house. You said, oh, let me just take a walk. You just walked on the pavement. It happened to be a road where a lot of nice shops are. And you know the big glass windows. As you walk, you turn around, what is that? Behind the glass, you go, that's really a nice diamond ring. Oh, how pretty it is. Is there a label? How much is that? You didn't even think of seeing a diamond ring or buying a diamond ring. You simply walked without any reason. Simply fresh air. You saw that ring and then you were straining your eye to look at the label, the price. That sounds reasonable. Yeah, I was thinking of getting a diamond ring all this time. All of a sudden the idea comes, All this time you were thinking of getting one. He didn't get me even for the last anniversary. Well, it's not really that much. It's only about $250. How much I have in my bank? You figure out your bank balance. Well, all right. Yeah, a little less, but I can borrow. Who from? Well, you come home immediately, you begin, because you are exposed to that ring. Imagine the situation. You walked peacefully, no problem at all, for a fresh air, and your eye just caught that ring. And then the price seemed to be right. The price is always right. So your eyes took a photograph of that. This is also a camera. And there is a film inside your own mind. Very sensitive film. What a beautiful, even the technology uses wonderful terms. You know how the sensitivity of the film is calculated or measured? They give certain numbers, 64 ASA, 100 ASA, high speed film 400 ASA. You know that? ASA means, it's not American Standard or something like that, ASA. ASA, ASA. Asa in Sanskrit means desire. If you have high sensitive film, that means you have very sensitive desire here. Your mind is coated with that asa. Sensitive. It's a sensitive film. You just see it, immediately the image goes in and gets exposed. And then you come home, you sit and plan how to gather enough money and buy it. That means you are developing it. You took a picture there, you come home and you are developing it. Some people develop it within an hour, some people it take time. And then when you know that yes, you can have enough money, somehow I can get the bank money and friends and you call, tell everybody, got enough. Then you say, that's fine, tomorrow morning I'm going to go and buy it. You have fixed it. Now after developing, there is the process of fixing the picture. You fixed it. Then you go, buy it. That means until you go and buy it, what are all the problems that you went through? Brooding over, planning, and if that guy didn't want to give you the money, you get offended with him. He becomes your enemy. Look at that, after all I just want $50. Can't you give me the $50? What kind of friend you are? It all happened when you simply went for a fresh walk. Okay, after all the worry you got it, you put it in your terrific. You're admiring. At the moment you walk out, you happen to see somebody, sort of crowd-looking person walking. What do you do immediately? Immediately you take out the ring, put it in the pocket, and then this pocket is safer, this pocket is safer. Which? Or you are even hiding your hand here. Why? You are afraid that that guy might snatch it away. May not be here in Lynchburg, but in New York. What is the problem now? The fear of losing comes. The worry of getting, the excitement of having gotten it, now the fear of losing. At what point the mind was balanced? I'm just simply giving you, I don't say that you should not get a diamond and wear it. Fine, wonderful. But what I say is, let not your mind get disturbed by it. And you get it, wonderful. Oh, I got it, wonderful. Thank you. You lost it, wonderful. I lost it, hey, you know. Enjoy both. Remember, life is always a game. Don't always look to win.
First, and then we go into the reading. I have trouble with coughing when attempting pranayama. Anything I can do to help? Oh, very good. And when you first do pranayama, you do tend to cough a lot. It's good. I cough a lot with it because being an asthmatic, it's taking out the toxins. Coughing is removing phlegm, shaking it and getting it out. Just keep going, don't stop. Doesn't matter if you cough. Have a little glass of water next to you, have some tissue, and if you have to take out the phlegm, please do. Don't be embarrassed. Just have tissue and take out the phlegm because it's removing the toxin. Until all the toxin is removed, then you will have cough. As you get better, it gets less and less, you know. And most of you are very healthy. You should not have a problem with you. Initially, it's just moving the energy. So coughing is very natural when you first start. Don't be embarrassed by it. And it's good. It's a good thing. It's shifting. It's showing that it's shifting. Just continue the practices. The more you practice, the less you will cough. How do you treat people who steal your time by being constantly late? Tell them. I would tell them straight. I wouldn't be angry about it. I'll just say, you're always late, you're stealing my time, next time I'm not meeting you. In fact, I had a student when I was living in Savanias. Yes, you know this. And I told her, you have a habit of being late. I have to leave for Gibraltar at 5. I was living in Savanias, giving her a lift to Gibraltar on Wednesday. So you have to be there at 5 to 9. I'll pick you up 5 to 9. First day, 20 past 9. Yeah. So I told her off. I said, you know, I told you. Second time, 5 minutes late. Third time she calls me, Nalanie, I'm going to Gibraltar, can you pick me up? Yes, but I'm telling you, tomorrow I cannot be late because I have to see somebody at 10. And I need to be on time. 1 minute late, you take the bus. And I got there for 9. I gave her 5 minutes grace. She didn't come. I didn't even call her. Because I'd call her, please, I'm going to take another 10 minutes, da, da, da. I didn't even call her. I said, go, I'm going straight. She got the message. So you have to tell them. And then she hasn't asked me for a lift, so until she heals from that problem, I don't think she will. So, and she's much better now, I must say. She is much better now. No. So, I would tell them straight and say, look, I'm nothing offensive, it's just that I have lots to do with my life and I would rather be truthful to you than get angry at you and spoil my whole day because you are late. I'm happy to be with you, but please be on time, full stop. And if they can't accept it, what can you do? They're not really a friend, are they? A real friend will accept it. A real friend will accept and realize and even say, I'm really sorry, I think, oh, forgive me, I really have a bad habit, you know? And you do, you forgive them. Just don't pick them up. And that's what you learn. It's not being harsh or cruel, it's not about not giving anybody a chance. It's about, you know it's a bad habit, they need to learn. If everybody feels sorry for them, they'll never learn, right? So think that you're doing it with love and don't be weak, be strong. Don't be a coward. You're not hurting them, you're just protecting them. Is there an emergency breath when you are totally close to a panic and lose your mind? I know I shouldn't lose my mind, but it happens. Yes, it does happen. There's no emergency breath. The best breath when you're in panic mode is actually to take one deep breath. Will you do it with me? Everybody sit up straight. Take one deep breath. And count to 10 in your mind. And then repeat, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Inhale again. Breathe out. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. And basically, just with that, it's the best thing for people with panic attacks. And tell yourself, you're not gonna die. I tell all my panic attack patients, you're not gonna die. Nothing's gonna happen. Sit still. Sit still. Breathe with me. Many times even over the phone. So many people over the years have had really panicking, and I just say, take a deep breath. Om Shanti, Shanti, peace, 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 peace. That's the best breath. Anything else is making more movement. Holding the breath stops the hyperventilation. So let them hold the breath. It's simple English saying, when you're angry, take a deep breath and count to 10. It's so simple, you see? But that's exactly what you do. And after you just do that for like 2 or 3 minutes, you'll find that you will calm down. The thing to tell yourself is that nothing's going to happen. You're not going to die. This will pass. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. It will pass, and then it will pass. And of course, then the person who suffers from panic attacks has to understand, where is that coming from? Why do you get it in the first place? Once you're calm, you need to find the cause. And the cause, I have seen people who get panic attacks, is normally based on fear. For great fear. I call it the soul alarm or the spirit alarm. When you get panic attacks like that, it's almost like you're not attending to your life's mission. Once you do, they stop. It's like a warning bell. Ding, 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 ding. Something you're not completing in your life, so you're starting to panic. I'm getting older. Things are not working this way. I thought this would happen. There's a lot of fear in that. Come to terms with that. Spiritual studies, Swadhyaya, will help people. Read books that elevate the mind, will help it much more than any medication. I have not seen 1% benefit from medication unless they've had a huge trauma in their lives, maybe loss of someone, they really can't handle it. Then they take medication for a little while, or lost a child or something, take it for 2 or 3 months, and then I tell them stop. Because immediately, sometimes some people just can't do it. They really can't do it. It's just too much for them. To ask them to use their strength at that time, they don't have it. And that's the only time I've seen it useful for a short period of time. The moment they continue it for a longer period of time, then what happens, the next step is they have no energy to get up in the morning. Then they become lethargic. You've read all the side effects of all these antidepressants. I don't have to tell you about them. You know there are so many side effects. You read the contraindications in them, any of these drugs, and they'll tell you suicidal, loss of promise. And guess who taught me this? A patient, my very first long-term patient that was on antidepressants for 7 years. The one that took me 7 years to take it out of his system. He's the one that gave me all the prescriptions and all the contraindications papers, and then he did his own study. And that was when he started to study, because he kept on thinking he couldn't do without them. Oh, no, you can't wean me up. So I said, you're very brilliant at the internet. Go find out more stuff for me. He used to send me papers and papers of information of how bad these drugs were long term. So I learned a lot from him. And in him teaching me, he healed himself too. So, yeah.
I was on antidepressants for 15 years, and it wasn't until I met Kim and Ola that I started to wean myself off them, and I'm now totally off them.
Congratulations!
15
Congratulations!
years.
That's a long time. And you got off them in what, a year or 2 years?
How long have I known you?
A lot less.
A year? No, it's a
6
year now.
months. Something like that.
About
you
6
started
months
to-
since I started to come off them. And when I started to come off them, I would get electric shocks in my brain, which means that you can't come off them because you don't want the electric shocks, so you go back on them. And it's very frightening, but
You have to just stick with the frightening and pass that stage. Oh, I'm very proud of you. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's so wonderful. Wow. That's the record. Can I quote you?
please do. I'm
Yes.
pretty proud of myself too,
I
because
think-
I didn't think I'd ever do it.
After 15 years
Long time.
yeah, to give up in 6 months is amazing. I don't know what any of cases. Many times after 15 years, again, I've met many like that and they just won't do it. They can't.
But it's just a
They're
lot
too
of
frightened.
breathing and Dev Pramal. I do a lot of listening to Dev Pramal. When
Chanting.
my head is like, and I'm just in my room and I can lie and chant, the whole neighbourhood can hear me.
Great.
But,
Thank you
but
for
also
taking care of her and teaching
her
her
middle
the
name
science.
is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
That's true.
Well, you certainly was Wonder Woman when you helped us clean that day. You're strong.
I am strong.
You are strong. What a gift. You know, I was watching you and just like, and there I'm like, puny little
Do
things.
you know she swam the English Channel when she was 16?
No, I had no idea. Congratulations.
It's a strong lady. Stubborn as
Yeah,
well.
you see strong people giving wrong information, yeah? Strong people giving wrong information, what can happen? And then your life is never happy in that period. You know, it's one bad thing after another. That's all I've seen. And then when you get the knowledge, then some people take long, but you've taken very quick. And then they blossom into, suddenly all those years they have to catch up very quickly. Because time is suddenly, oh, I've lost all those years and I need to now make up for it. And that's the exciting part. You know, a new beginning, a new start. Thank you for telling me that. That was really nice to hear. Great to hear that
Absolute
they've taken
pleasure.
the knowledge to help somebody else. Thank you. See, this is why I like to teach, because it's people like you that spread it. So thank you for acknowledging their
No,
help.
thank them, because without them I think I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, thank you, definitely.
Pleasure.
Keep up the good work. Now, somebody asked me, you asked me the other day, don't I get tired of doing this? When I see things like this? No.
No, I said it. I said, how do you keep renewing when you say the same things again and again and again over 20 years?
I really don't know.
I know.
And that was my answer to you. I just know there's a force and you just, you know, so long as people need it, I guess God will use me. That's how I feel. And even though I feel I'm saying the same things again and again and again, obviously it's making a difference, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? So that's it. And one of the things I had learned very early on in my life, and which I often prayed, because I learned it from Gurudev, and it's, you know, dear God, as long as you want to use me, but don't let me be in charge. And if I have to be a fool, better to be your fool than my own fool. So if you want to make me say what is right, you have to talk through me. I don't have to worry about it. So that's how I think all the time. That's why I never plan what talk I'm going to do or what I'm going to say, because I feel there's an energy far greater that will tell me what to say and who needs to hear what. Because if I planned everything, then I'm telling you what I want you to hear. But maybe it's not what you need to hear. So it has to be soul to soul. That creates that energy, the prana in the room. That creates the healing in the room. And this is why it's, you know, you as my students say, talk about what you do know. What you don't know, don't talk about it. Because what you do know and you speak about it, you speak with inspiration, you speak with courage, and you speak with truth, because you've experienced it. And if you speak about things you don't know, but you know it here, but not here. Say you understand it here, but you yet have to learn it from here. And when you speak like that, your words hold truth. They're truthful. And wherever there's truth, people know. You know, you feel it. So in your life, that's why Sri Patanjali tells us, always speak what is true. If it is not true, do not speak it. And then you will always never disillusion anyone. And if they want to get disillusioned, it's their problem. Because at the end of the day, we all are going to die alone. Yes, we may have family around us, but nobody can go at the same time with us in our body. We have to answer to what? To whom? This energy called God. And where do you feel it? Inside of you. And then you have to do the search yourself. Is there a God? The search has to come from you. I have no doubt. But I think people are so confused about the word God. They're so confused. They think this is an image brought to human form, like Lord Jesus, like Lord Buddha. This is sun, because that energy has to come in a human form. Otherwise, how are you going to have an example of how to be, right? We all need examples in life. If there's nobody to show us, how are we going to learn? So they become the sons of God. In the Catholic Christian tradition, you only have one, Lord Jesus. But in all the Hindu traditions, they say in the Bhagavad Gita, that wherever there is unrighteousness, know that I will show myself on the earth again and again and again to give hope to the people. So, you know, we see rare avatars in our life. Ramakrishna in the 19th century. For me, my guru is an avatar. It doesn't have to be for you. You have to find your own road. And you must find your own road. And you must find what means something to you. Because if you do, the practice becomes extremely powerful and you can know God. And it is magical. It is absolutely magical. You can talk to God. Let nobody tell you you can't. It's just the interpretation has to be different for each person. And what I realized when I really got on this path, I realized that really we all come from the same thing, right? And we all come from this divine energy, right? So I just think, well, you know, we were created all so differently because God wanted to know God in each one of us, in our experiences. In our experiences. Because there's no experience for that is not manifest. There is no experience for the one that is all. The only experience comes when it separates itself from itself. That is the sacrifice of the divine. It separated itself to create so many journeys for so many of us to get to know that lovely feeling of pure love. As our master would say to us, if it's all peace, 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 there's no play, there's no game. There's no game. So it has to be duality in order to be a game. So we came to experience. What happened? We got lost on the way. We got too attached to material things. We got too attached to ownership. And that's why it says the highest practice is when you let go of ownership of everything. Whatever you do. What I said earlier on. No ownership to anything, good or bad. No ownership. Doesn't belong to you. It's just an experience. When you go through pain, now I understand why people like Coleridge wrote so many beautiful poems, or Keats, or Shelley, or all these people, Gerald Manley Hopkins, when they were so depressed. Gerald Manley Hopkins was a poet priest. And he wrote his most beautiful poetry when he was depressed, when he was going through his bad times. And one of his lines, which I never forget, which I studied so long ago, I forget, The world is charged with the grandeur of God. It will flame out like shining unshook foil. Can you see that image? Shining unshook. It will flame with the grandeur of God. And then the other poem, I don't know who wrote this song, was a Christian song also. Spirit of God. Spirit of God in the clear running water. Where is the Spirit of God? And it's a Christian song. Blowing to safety the trees on the hill. And it's telling us the Spirit is everywhere. And then they sing these lovely songs, and then they say, no, it's only in Lord Jesus. Come on. And Lord Jesus himself loved the Gentiles, loved the, Samaritans. He loved them all. He loved the taxpayers. He mixed with the prostitutes. He helped those in need. He helped the poor. He helped the sick. He himself was so universal. And the religion is trying to make our beloved Lord Jesus small. I told that once to a priest. He said, Nalanie, why don't you become a Catholic? I said, I am. I love Lord Jesus. But I don't believe he's biased or prejudiced. I told him. I said, I believe Lord Jesus is my master. I believe Lord Jesus in, Mother Teresa. I see such wonderful works done in his name. There is Lord Jesus. And then you know what he said to me, which really touched me. He said, I wish I had the love you have for God. And that to me was a real compliment. After that, he told his cousin or his niece not to come to my classes. Interesting, huh? But I couldn't be angry. Because when in his most truthful moments, he was kind to me. In his most truthful moment, But these things happen. It's life, so it doesn't matter. It's no big deal. Everybody has to find their own way. Are you getting the message? This is the real prana. When you can live in that life force, we talk about pranayama practice, people get very excited. But if you can do that practice charged with the knowledge of what you were looking for, with great love, that great peace, that silence, then you'll be enthused in your practice. And then the rest will come. The coughing will stop, because the focus is there. But while you're focusing on the breath, I'm coughing, I'm this, I'm that. See, too material still. Doesn't matter if you're coughing. If you really cough a lot and you disturb people, just make sure you have some water and just walk away. Then you come back again. But don't stay away. Come back. Sometimes people cough and they stay away. No, come back. Come back quietly, creep in and sit in the corner and start again. Don't worry. So that is, but have the depth of the practice, okay? There's no point doing the practice without that depth, that love, that I want to know, I really want to know. Like, my sweet Lord, I really want to know you. You all know George Harrison's song. I really want to know you, Lord, but it takes so long. And I used to sing that as a child all the time. And you have to want to know. Because there is a pining in us. There is this great pining for something to call home, isn't it? Or why would we have this feeling, this pining, this wanting, this wanting to love or know if we haven't experienced it? We wouldn't ask for something we haven't experienced. You wouldn't ask for something you haven't seen. But you ask for it because we've known it. And we're all just ready now, tired of all this playing, all these parts and movies and whatnot. And now we say, you know what? It'd be quite nice to go home now. And some quiet peace, Until when? Who knows? Who cares? We're eternal. Do you know that that's the truth? We're eternal. Eternal. Do you know what that means? Can you even fathom it? Can't. Eternal, eternity. We're never going to die. We just change. Spirit of God in clear running water. We might want to be water in the next lifetime. Don't know. Energy transforms. This is the scientific notion. Everything has consciousness.